Hello and welcome to a legendary start guide by me, Ashen Ninja. Today's start guide is about a guy with a bit of a thyroid problem and probably a few big bones that are overly big. He is Grom the Paunch, or Grom the Fat, or Grom the Enormous, Grom the Oops, I ate Jabba the Hutt, whatever you feel like calling him, doesn't bother me. Either way, it's this guy. Guy whose double chins have double chins with some ball chins on them. Now, Grom is a goblin, apparently, and his faction effects are he has access to his cauldron, which is not really that surprising, suitable climate, temperate island, diplomatic relations 80, minus 80 with high elves. He has a war that has a chance to include pump wagons, a global recruitment duration of -1 for all goblin units, and his specific effects are he has leadership +10 when fighting elves, a physical resistance for goblin units of +10%, upkeep -50% for chariot and pump wagon units. He has regeneration. I don't know why they've specifically put that in here, but whatever. And he has the army ability of Grom's War, which is different from the normal War in some way or another that I don't really paid enough attention to. But that's okay. He also starts with a Stone Troll unit and a River Troll unit and a Snotling Pump Wagon with Spiky Rollers unit. It has things like Unstoppable and other weird and wonderful wacky things. Armor Sundering, Armor Piercing, all sorts of things. Anyway. This is, of course, on Legendary, very hard Legendary, and as always, any tactic, strategies, apple pies, anything that gets eaten during this guide can be used in lower difficulties and that sort of thing. Now, I won't be drinking coffee during this one because I was silly enough to finish my coffee beforehand, so that's kind of ruined that part of it at least. Ruins my mood early on. Now I'm sad. Anyway, so this is not really going to be much in the way on how to use goblins and that sort of thing on the battlefield, because there is an inherent, what I think is an issue with Grom's army. Don't get me wrong, I actually quite like his mechanics and all that sort of stuff. I actually think he's a pretty good legendary lord, but they've forgotten this is supposed to be legendary difficulty, and he's got a few too many cheats, essentially. Now, we're not going to go up against Cassian in the first turn. Our Fishy Tide Muncher has Torturer. That's actually pretty good. So we'll pop you into Grom's army. We're going to pop Grom over here to massive Orcal and recruit some Gobbo archers. And speaking of massive Orcal, what we want to do is throw a growth building in here so that we can get that growing as fast as possible. We want to get it up to tier 3 as quickly as possible so that we can get things like Black Orc Big Bosses, some Goblin Rock Lobbers, and that sort of stuff. So getting things like your heroes and everything like that in here is really handy. Now, before we head off into the next turn, let's quickly go through Grom the Paunch. So, like every other Orc and Goblin Lord, his blue line and his red line, buffs units, buffs himself, and all that sort of stuff. He's got the usual Mob Boss for reducing upkeep, and Renowned and Feared for reducing upkeep even more. I do like those, especially for greenskins, because their economy is shit, to put it bluntly. But what Grom does have, he's got some unique line along here. His melee line's basically like everything else as well, just the usual buff this, buff that, buff his chariot, that sort of thing. So we start with a leadership aura plus 75% and +9 a leadership for goblin units in his army. Not too great, but Then you get things like your plus 15 growth all provinces, which is very handy, and more replenishment rate. More hit points and more physical resistance for Grom himself. This one, if you like your chariots and pump wagons, this one's quite nice for faster units of those, as well as having perfect vigour for them as well is super handy. Never getting tired. Of course, income from sacking settlements and post-battle loot plus 20%. Very, very good for that as well. He also gets roll them over, so attacks cause a rattled effect, so it reduces the effects of enemies, so he can just kind of keep charging about the place and rattling his enemies. Bonus versus large for all goblin units, and melee attack plus 6 for all goblin units. And he gets enemy leadership minus 7 for elven units, which doesn't really make a lot of difference with the amount of cheats they get on legendary, but lower difficulties, that'll make him take a bit of a hit. And it reduces his wound recovery time as well. He also has things like Goblin Tide, so more armor and attack power, and attack for goblin units. He's got Dodgy Geezer as usual, leadership aura, and better leadership in tunnels. And there his 2 special items you can get. His Lucky Banner, so magic item drop chance plus 20%, and he's better at stealing them as well. Ward save is also good. Melee defense plus 1, which is not really super great, but I don't really get that. It's also got How Lucky. I don't know. Anyway, and you've also got the quest for his axe, which is an extra 5 growth for all provinces, armor piercing plus 40, bonus versus intensity plus 15, and he's got the ability Axe of Grom, which increases all the damage and stuff for 30 seconds as well. So, not too bad items. So, overall, he's a pretty good legendary lord. Now, thing I want to start with here first is go bigger to get the growth started here as well. I'd like to have as much growth as possible going for the start, and that's also the same with the commandment I'll use. You can also use things like these ones here, but yeah. Growth is the most important thing. Now, as like all the other orcs and goblins, he's got his war meter, he's got scrap, and he also has recipes, of which he currently have. I've cooked none, and he's a starving gobbo. Now we can't actually cook any at the moment because you need at least 2 ingredients, and you only start with troll meat. So not much we can do there. But it won't be too long before we actually start getting some food for him, I'm sure. So first turn we just want to do a little bit of recruiting. And waiting for the turn to end, of course. Now for Blacktooth, head in a jar, we need to, at the start of our turn, have at least 50 scrap. We have none at the moment. We'll also get a random ingredient, which is good. Now we'll pop out here. Drop that down, and we'll throw in 3 gobbos from Global. They're expensive, but what you gonna do, eh? Now, so that means we are raiding, which is good. It also means Cassion's army should come back to play if he's feeling frisky. He might not be, you never know. No, he's not. How weird. That's alright. We'll continue to upset him anyway. We'll head down this way, see where he's at. Now we've only got 16 in our army. He's going to have 18 at this stage, so he's probably going to want to come and play. Hopefully. Come on, Cassion. Come on. No, doesn't want to come and play. That's weird. Very, very weird. Alright, so he's got 28 now. Let's have a look here. Let's see what this battle says. Oh, we're going to get defeated valiantly. That's a bummer. Alright, that's okay. What we'll do is we'll pop up over here and we'll go into ambush stance. See if we can get him to come out at us. Alright, let's change to Gobby Gobbos now that we've got our +10. And we'll hang out here in ambush stance and see if we can get Cassian to come out and say hello. Really doesn't want to at the moment, does he? No. He's not interested. Oh well. In that case, we'll head up this way. And we'll show him why he probably should have come and got us before. Now we are now losing money. Look at that, isn't that good? That's alright. We'll be fine, we'll be fine. Well, I've been playtesting this every time Cassian's come out and attacked me. So, but, well, does not seem to want to this time. Oh, he's gone for massive Orcal. That's okay, it's good. If anything, that's even better. So what we'll do is we'll pop up here. We're apparently going to have a valiant defeat. That doesn't sound right now, does it? Let's actually pop back this way. We're going to stay in ambush stance. He should not be able to attack. Oh no, he can attack. Oh, that's a bit. Oh well, we'll do this differently then. Since he can attack, we'll come down here and start raiding him. We'll see if that pulls him back out this way. May attack massive Orcal. That won't really make too much of a difference if he does. Let's see what Cassian will do. Oh, he's going to force march back to Quenelles. So every now and then you've got to do a bit of chasing about the place to try and convince them that what they want to do is come and fight you. So let's see if we can convince him to come back towards massive Orcal again. Still losing 37 gold, but we've now disappeared from his sight, so he might go, yep, massive Orcal's open. I'll go wreck it. Can always hope. There we go. Force march right into us. Nice little Pyrrhic victory for us. Alright, so that'll give us a nice amount of loot money. Yep, 300 gold. We lost a couple of Gobbo units, but that's not a problem. Go with Safeguard. Yep. And we've got our new ingredient, and we got our Blacktooth's Conjuration, which should go to him, I think, because we can't actually give it to Grom. Definitely want to be able to summon a rogue idol. They're a lot of fun. Now let's have a look. Quenelles at the moment is only rank 2, so it doesn't actually have walls. We should just be able to stomp in there. Oh no, valiant defeat. This is interesting. So, when I was playtesting this, Grom was just able to wander in anywhere he felt like and absolutely wreck the place. So, that's interesting. It seems to have changed with just one campaign. Very interesting. That's alright. We'll do a little bit of raiding and get some troops back up, and we should be able to roll right over Quenelles very easily. Paravon have not built up a new set here, which is good. We're up to 19. Still a valiant defeat. Interesting. Suppose I do have... We've actually taken a fair bit of damage, so... Go through one more turn. What we'll do is we'll actually combine a few of these units. Just so that we can get a little bit of recruitment in as well. There we go. That looks pretty good. Now, what we want to get is, which lower our recruitment cost. That seems like a good idea. Still getting our raiding income, which is good. Once we start sacking Quenelles, we will basically have Paravon on the ropes. So we better start doing that this turn.
Grom's bigger than ever.
Alright, the ogres have appeared, and every time they feel the need to tell me about ogre camps. I know how the ogre camps work, you don't need to remind me. Grom, we're going to give you more sacking ability. That is exactly what we're going to do. Drop in here, we get a Pyrrhic victory, we lose a couple of archers, that's alright. Well, give that a sacking. As you can see, our mobster bar went up very quickly. Got ourselves another new ingredient. We'll go to the ogres and hire somebody, even though we won't actually recruit them. It's a very confusing situation you find yourself in with these. Pop life leeching in for our lovely fella. We'll upgrade that. That's looking good. Now, we can make something. So let's get ourselves some regeneration for everyone. And I think, while I do like growth at the moment, we need a bit more replenishment. So we'll go with that. So we're going to make Grom's Surf and Turf. And from that, we get regeneration for all Goblin and Nut Goblin infantry, random amounts of gold, and replenishment. Yeah, he doesn't want to see a soggy bottom apparently, so nothing like a British Bake Off quote to round out your giant fat goblin. So really at this point what you want to be doing is trying to make sure you upgrade Massive Orcal as much as possible. And keep your army going. That's alright. Should be alright anyway. So the constant sacking will actually make us a decent amount of money. Oh yep, we'll take the recruitment, make that cheaper. We should. Yep, another Pyrrhic victory, that's alright. We are going to lose the pump wagons. Yeah, that's fine. I don't really like pump wagons personally. So that's good. There we are. And we've got a minus 25 recruitment reduction, so let's take advantage of that. Seems weird that I'm not concerned about how damaged the army is, but trust me, it's not a problem. Now, for the fishy title muncher, I'm going to go with Soul Blight. I don't really find anything in this lower part useful at all, like reducing the leadership. It's not very useful. Only real spell that I find too useful in this is Purple Sun Osiris, and even then it's a really expensive spell, and so I'm not too enamoured of it at all. I'd much rather the either Big War or Small War. Both, in my opinion, are better, but the River Troll Hags themselves are still quite a good unit. can be quite tanky with their regeneration and that sort of thing. So definitely still worth having. Righto, massive Orcal has not quite grown yet, but our food merchant has arrived, which is fine. We'll give this settlement another bit of a squishing. That's all good. We'll actually form all of them into single units now. Set him back into a stance where we can recruit. Throw some more gobbo archers in there. That's only got one more turn, that's good. War bar is filling up nicely, which is also good. And we'll increase the amount we make from sacking settlements. Another point in Soul Blight for you. And we'll see what the Paravonians have for us this time. Again, not concerned with various elves going to war with us. They're not a problem. Now I know a lot of the time you're probably wondering why the hell I haven't actually attacked Parabon yet. I'm actually going to make that my first war target. Oh, win 3 battles, that shouldn't be too hard. Hero recruited Goblin Big Boss. He is a torturer. Oh, okay, yep, that's fine. Come on. And come down. Yep, interacted with the food merchant as well. Forgot about that. Now, she has given us a food challenge. So we can get goldfish. If we just hand over 1,000 gold, we can do the cooking challenge, which will unlock a cauldron ingredient slot and add funds to the treasury. We do Hag Surprise. She cooks a random recipe in our cauldron, and our current recipe effects are replaced. Or we can take the scrap and that. In this case, I'm going to actually... I think I'll actually take the cooking challenge. Mushy meat. Mushy meat. Alright, so we need to make a mushy meat. Which ain't too hard. Basically, what we need to do is use the mushrooms. And use some meat. And there we go. We've now made some mushy meats. Now, it's a okay effect, but, you know, it's the ingredient slot that we have just opened up in the cauldron. So now what we can do is we can actually do a triple whammy. Maybe? No? We can't do a triple whammy? Oh, come on. You know you want to let me. Can we pop you in? There we go. So we just have to do it in a different order. So it's still his surf and turf, but we've added that to it. We still get the random gold and all them. I've already cooked a dish this turn though, so we'll have to wait until next turn to do it. Which is fine. Now we need to get these wins for Grom, so another lot of auto-resolving here. Getting him up levels, very good, and getting him some ancillaries and weapons and stuff. Now we want to spend some money on our province. Do I need that one? Not really, but will anyway. Bit of extra income's not a bad thing. And we'll go with Looter, because over time we'll stop raiding and we'll actually do more looting than raiding. Pop in one Goblin Archer because we're actually going to get our hero in soon. We're getting close to having a war, which is good. Once you have the war, again, you're basically turning it into a giant rampage because you're running around with 2 armies. You're pretty much unstoppable at this edge of the game where you're only running about, 15 units or You're only running 15 turns, not 15 units. What am I saying? Who am I? Alright, so we've now reduced the amount our recruitment's going to cost, which is good. We'll knock these guys on their head again. Not a lot they can do to us at the moment. We'll upgrade you. Now, research-wise, we want to go for no infighting, because now we want to head for Healy mushrooms for even more casualty replenishment rate. Delicious casualty replenishment rate. Grom himself is getting fairly powerful, which is going to help us a lot. We've now got ourselves a Gobbo hero. They're not the best of heroes, but they're not bad. Well, Grom's picked up the radar already. So we'll actually be doing quite a bit of damage to their control. Because we've got the 2 torturers in there, and we've got Raider as well. So their actual public order here will actually be really terrible. Which just helps us out a little bit, really. What do we have? Let's take the extra 1200 gold. Hag Merchant has arrived again, which is good. I forgot to remake our food. Not that it's really affecting us at all, but... Alright, and we've got our 3 battles won, and we've already got that embedded, so that's already done as well. Kill 1,000 enemies in battle. We'll get through to that pretty quickly doing this. And we're going to send our Gobbo up here. And now let's see. We can get Eagle Challenge, Hag Surprise. We'll go for the Cooking Challenge again. Something with fishy chunks. Gross. Alright, so Cooking Challenge. The closest we have is Ocean Clams, which is possibly not really going to be enough in the way of fishy chunks, but let's see anyway. No, unfortunately that's not so. For fishy chunks generally you actually need like either the goldfish or the puffer fish to be an ingredient, so essentially that is how it works. Alright, we're starting our level 3 in our town now, which is excellent. Level 3 in the town will start us being able to get things like Black Orc, big bosses and that sort of thing. Really good tanky units them. Good for holding up units while your Gobbo archers absolutely shred them. Which honestly is the tactic I would be using for Grom's army. With Grom himself essentially constantly charging about the place. The more he's charging around on his chariot, the better. Looks like I forgot to put him in raiding stance, that's no good. That wasn't very good of me. Sack that again. We're very close to getting our war together now. We want Grom. I'm going to give him Lightning Strike first. It's a very good skill, Lightning Strike. We're going to give you Purple Sun of Azurius. We're going to give him even more melee defense. Just makes him a little bit tanky. They're actually going to have a revolt in Paravon next turn. Unless they actually cancel their money making. Why can't I remember? Taxing. If they stop taxing the province, they might be okay, but they might not be able to. Oh no, they still get -4 from taxes, so they'll just stop taxing the province. which isn't a problem for the AI because they get their cheats. They essentially have that. Now, so what we want now... Oh, they've been, again. Hag Merchant has arrived again. She's really arriving a lot. It's alright though.
Grom always wins. Remember it.
Now this time we're actually going to loot and occupy,
Lovely loot.
because that also gets us to the point where we can call in a war. This will also mean that we can replenish most of our units here. And if we start our war now at Paravon, now so we will only get a normal trophy, so some obedience and some charge bonus, which isn't a great deal. But this is the first war, not a late war. Alrighty, now that's actually where I'm going to leave this guide. So from here, basically with you and your war units, which you'll be able to build up more of over the other turn. Oh, look at that, we've got a couple of river trolls, nice. Really, this shouldn't be a problem at all. They do have a decent military presence there, but essentially if you move up here, go for an ambush, they'll no doubt come back to take over Quenelles from you. And then it's on for young and old. Off you go and destroy those Paravonians. You should still do a little bit of sacking, in my opinion, just to get your levels up. But for now, best thing to do, get up there and hit Paravon. So that's it for this start guide. Hopefully it's been helpful, and I will see you in the next one. I've been Ocean Ninja. Please subscribe. Catch you later.